How many times has a tiny detail ruined your day? Sometimes it's a thoughtless phrase, someone cutting you off in traffic, a message that no one answers, and suddenly you lose your composure as if it was something gigantic. What was minuscule becomes enormous when the mind is sensitive. And it's incredible how we surrender our tranquility to things that didn't deserve even a tiny bit of our attention. Think about it. If such small things can mess with your inner self, the problem isn't out there. It's in how much you still let the world decide how you should feel. And here's the reality. Life doesn't take your peace from you. You give it away without realizing it. The Stoics understood this very well. They knew that calmness doesn't arise when everything suddenly gets better. It appears when you learn to see situations from a different perspective. Almost always the pain doesn't come from what happens, but from the story you create about it. Now imagine another way of existing. Imagine being like a very deep lake. The wind moves the surface, but the bottom remains still. The world may provoke, pressure, push, but your peace remains there, firm, whole. That's what this video will show you. Not how to erase challenges, but how to prevent them from taking control of your life. Today you will learn to act with more focus, more tranquility, and more understanding. Not because everything will be perfect, but because you will realize that peace is a decision. And before we begin, write in the comments, "I choose to live fully today." That's your first step. State your intention before starting the change. Now let's move on to our Stoic lessons. Lesson 1. Turn your difficulties into strength. One of life's greatest secrets is understanding that almost everything you call a problem isn't a punishment. It's a hidden invitation, a disguised opportunity, a silent test that arises to reveal a strength you haven't yet realized within yourself. The obstacle, even if uncomfortable, isn't an enemy placed there to bring you down. It and the path. It is the teacher that prepares you, the tool that improves you, the test that makes you stronger. The difference between those who grow and those who diminish is not in the size of the challenge, but in the way each one perceives it. There are people who see a stone and give up. Others look at the same stone and climb it to see further. Life works like that. Two paths, the same scenario, completely different results. It all depends on the lens you choose to use. Imagine a fire burning in the middle of the darkness. If you add wood, it grows. If you add obstacles, it grows even more because everything it touches becomes fuel. The fire doesn't choose what to burn, it transforms. And you are that fire. You don't grow despite the challenges, you grow because of them. Every difficulty that comes your way is fuel for your evolution, as long as you have the courage to endure the heat and cross the flames. The Stoics understood this profoundly. They knew that life doesn't happen against you, but through you. Epictetus said, "The important thing is not what happens, but how you react to what happens." And this simple phrase holds enormous power, capable of turning someone's inner world around. When you change your reaction, you change your story, you change the impact that each event will have on you. Think about how many situations that once seemed unfair, difficult, or out of place were actually what opened bigger doors in the future. Sometimes a denied promotion was the start of a real career. Sometimes the end of a relationship was the beginning of a rediscovery of yourself. Sometimes the failure that hurt the most showed you the extent of your strength. Life has this strange and perfect way of pushing you to where you should be, even when you insist on staying where you no longer belong. Obstacles are where you train courage, discipline, patience, and clarity. It is in discomfort that muscles grow, in silence that wisdom is born, and in difficulty that the spirit learns to align itself with reality, not with what you would like it to be. Marcus Aurelius explained this with incredible clarity. That which blocks the path becomes the path itself. This phrase is not poetry. It is practical. It means that every situation that seems to delay you is, in fact, preparing you. And when you understand this, something profound changes. You stop running away, you stop resisting, you stop complaining, and you start using. You start using delays to learn patience. You start using criticism to build firmness. You start using fear to develop courage. You start using mistakes to gain wisdom. Nothing is lost. Everything, absolutely everything, becomes building material for those who choose to grow. Over time, this way of living creates a rare kind of peace, a calmness that doesn't depend on not having problems, but on the inner certainty that you know how to deal with them. And when this serenity appears, you become someone difficult to bring down, because you understand that life takes nothing away from you. It only molds, adjusts, sharpens, and strengthens. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I use this to become a better person?" This simple question transforms frustration into progress, fear into clarity, pain into maturity. And remember, nothing that comes your way is by chance. If it's in your path, it's part of your growth. Write in the comments, "I transform obstacles into strength." Because this isn't just a phrase, it's a new way of walking through life. Lesson 2. How has your life been? We forget that we are more. We live as if time will never end. We walk through the world as if each morning were guaranteed forever. We complain about small inconveniences as if they were enormous, as if nothing else mattered. And at the same time, we postpone the deepest things of the heart, as if we had an infinite life to begin. We only realize how strange this is when something shakes us, when life itself reminds us, gently or harshly, that it waits for no one. Think about how many times you've spent an entire day without truly feeling present, living on autopilot, trapped in worries that changed absolutely nothing, wasting valuable hours on distractions that left no lasting impression. We are very attentive when something threatens our safety, but we are strangely careless when it comes to truly living. And this inner turmoil is the price we pay most. Seneca saw this with striking clarity. He wrote words that seem like a mirror and a warning at the same time, because in the end, it's not time that disappears. It's we who fail to use it while we still have it. Imagine your life as an hourglass. The sand that has already fallen cannot rise again. The portion that will still fall depends on mysteries that no one controls, and the only handful that truly matters is the one falling now. But how many times do you treat this exact moment as if it has no value? How many joys have you postponed to another day? How many conversations have you saved for later? How many dreams have you left in a drawer believing you would have more time for them? It's not about living in fear, but about living with awareness. The awareness that the present is the only space where life truly happens, that every gesture has weight, that every choice creates paths, that every lost second is a piece of your own story that can never be rewritten. Look at your life honestly. Have you been living or just passing through the days? Have you been choosing what truly matters or just chasing after what comes along? Have you become someone you're proud of or someone who constantly apologizes for not starting sooner? This is where Stoicism is not just an idea, but a flame. It calls you to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start acting with what you already have in your hands, to stop treating time as charity and start treating it as treasure, to stop accumulating promises and start accumulating actions. Life doesn't need grand maps, it needs presence. What has already happened to you doesn't define who you are. What happens now doesn't decide your future either. The only truly important question is, what are you going to do with the time you still have available? Because as long as you breathe, there's always a chance to start over, to adjust your path, to correct what you did wrong, to rediscover meaning, to recover what was lost, and above all, to create what doesn't yet exist. Sometimes the problem isn't that your life is bad, it's that you've distanced yourself from yourself. You've distanced yourself from calm, gratitude, strength, faith, simplicity, and when you separate yourself from what sustains you, any setback becomes a storm. But when you decide to return, to go back inside, to return to the present, to return to what truly matters, it's as if you're coming home. So ask yourself honestly, how have I been living? Who have I become? Who do I want to be from this moment on? Because life isn't measured by the years you've lived, but by the depth with which you've lived each day. And if you choose now to live with more intention, more presence, and more sincerity, there's still time. There's always time for those who awaken while they're still alive. So write in the comments, "I choose to live fully." It's just a phrase, but it's also a decision. And decisions change destinies. Lesson 3. Transform your mornings. For the Stoics, tomorrow wasn't just the start of another day. It was the moment when you decide who you want to be, before the world tries to decide for you. The morning routine isn't about coffee, chores, or doing more things. It's about taking back control of your mind before chaos tries to take over. It's about aligning your heart before problems try to distort your way of thinking. It's about remembering, first thing in the morning, that you're not here just to react, but to choose how you want to live. Think of the sunrise as an invisible forge. It is there, in that calm morning light, that you forge the iron of your behavior. It is there that you decide whether you will spend the day distracted or attentive, whether you will be dominated by impulses or in control of your own decisions. Those who start on autopilot are already losing. Those who start consciously are already winning. Epictetus understood this deeply. He suggested two simple questions upon waking. What do I need to leave behind today so as not to carry bad feelings? How can I take at least a small step towards the peace I want to live in? These questions are not complicated. They are tools for the mind. They remind you that you have the right and the duty to organize your inner world before facing the external one. Marcus Aurelius also had a morning custom. Every morning, he reminded himself that being alive was already a huge gift. Wake up remembering the value of breathing, thinking, and loving. This simple gesture, almost forgotten today, completely changes how someone feels about the day. When you start by giving thanks, you enter the day stronger. When you start by complaining, you enter weak. And Marcus Aurelius went further. He said to prepare ourselves to meet difficult people, not because the world is bad, but because each person is different. Today you will meet someone arrogant, someone ungrateful, someone angry, he reminded us. But none of them can hurt you unless you give them that power. Anticipating this acts as emotional armor. Those who prepare are not frightened. Those who are not frightened do not lose their balance. Seneca, on the other hand, began his day by remembering that everything changes. Everything can disappear. What you love, what you have achieved, even what you think you are. And this, instead of causing fear, should bring presence. We live surrounded by things that will one day end, he wrote. So appreciate what is here while it lasts. Those who wake up remembering this don't waste the day on meaningless distractions, because they understand that each morning is unique, special, and will never return. Now look at your life. How many times have you opened your eyes at the last second, rushed to get ready, and started the day already tired, irritated, anxious, or fighting with the world? That's not a lack of routine, it's a lack of presence. When you're not present in the first hour of the day, the rest of the day controls you. A Stoic morning routine acts as an anchor. It holds you calm when the day tries to drag you into chaos. It restores clarity when problems try to clutter your mind. It gives you strength when the world tries to convince you that you have none. Starting the day with intention is saying to the universe, I am in command of my spirit. Nothing outside will be greater than what I build inside. Set aside a few minutes in the morning, even just a few. Breathe consciously. Think about who you want to be. Remember your values, write a Stoic phrase, say a prayer, give thanks, meditate, or simply be silent. It's your preparation before the battle. Not out of fear of the world, but out of respect for your own strength. Because those who begin the day aligned with themselves navigate the rest of it with firmness, clarity, and dignity. Lesson 4. Memorize Stoic phrases. The Stoics understood something that the modern world has largely forgotten. The mind needs simple phrases to avoid getting lost. Short, direct, and powerful phrases that act as anchors when emotions begin to shake you, as shields when anxiety tries to overwhelm you, as compasses when you forget the way back to yourself. They called these phrases maxims, small sentences full of centuries of wisdom, like concentrated drops of clarity capable of cutting through any confusion. Imagine your mind as a battlefield. Bad thoughts arrive quickly. Old fears resurface uninvited. Hasty judgments enter without permission. If you're unprotected, any twisted emotion can bring you down. But when you have Stoic phrases stored within you, it's like carrying internal weapons, light, silent, yet incredibly powerful. Epictetus had one that he carried throughout his life. Some things are within my control, others are not. It's simple, almost obvious, and it's precisely this simplicity that makes it so powerful. When you repeat this phrase, your mind returns to its center, your breathing calms, and what seemed gigantic becomes too small to make you fall. Marcus Aurelius had another one. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. It's impossible to say this without realizing that you've always had a choice of what to think, how to react, and what direction you want to give your story. It's not the world that decides what you feel, it's the thoughts you nurture. These maxims function like seeds. If you plant wise phrases, you reap wise actions. If you plant confused phrases, you reap a confused life. No one advances by repeating, "I can't," or "everything goes wrong." These phrases are not thoughts, they are bars. That's why the Stoics memorized their maxims like warriors carrying weapons, not to appear strong, but to truly be strong. Imagine this. You wake up anxious, with a heavy chest. Before the fear grows, you breathe and say, "Focus on what I can control." This phrase cuts through the chaos like a blade. It restores clarity, restores direction. Or think of a difficult decision. The mind invents stories, the fear increases. Then you repeat, "Memento mori, I too am mortal." Not to create panic, but to remember what matters. Life is too short to be wasted with endless doubt. Stoic weapons serve precisely that purpose, to pull you back when you're about to lose your way, to remind you of who you want to be when your emotions try to push you away from that path, to keep your strength burning when everything around you tries to extinguish it. Now ask yourself, what phrases do I want to carry as weapons? What ideas do I want to remember on difficult days? What principles do I want to guide my approach when life challenges me? Choose your phrases. Write some down. Memorize others. The important thing is to have words that remind you of your strength, your focus, and the person you are building. In the end, it's not luck that wins, it's the tools that win. And the strongest tools of the mind are always internal, silent, and firm like the soul itself. Share your power quote in the comments. She will be your first shield, your first sword, your first anchor on the path to your excellence. Lesson 5. Master the courage of full acceptance. Most pain doesn't stem from what happens, but from pointless fighting against what has already happened. Things can hurt, but true anguish comes from resistance, from trying to force life to be different from what it is. Think of it this way. When you get angry at the driver who cuts you off or upset because the app cancelled the ride, it's not the traffic or the app that steals your peace. It's the hidden expectation that everything had to go your way. And the more you fight what you can't change, the more it tires you inside. The Stoics called this acceptance, truly accepting what is beyond your control. It's not surrendering, it's maturing. It's understanding a simple principle. If nature brought this, then let it be. A short and powerful reminder, accept what is beyond your control to protect what truly is. Accepting is not giving up, it's exchanging anger for clarity. It's like a card game. You don't choose the cards you receive, but you choose how to play them intelligently. Life is the same. You don't control what happens, but you decide your attitude. And when you stop fighting reality, something changes. Frustration diminishes, your mind breathes, and your energy returns to what truly matters. Thomas Edison knew this. When his laboratory caught fire, instead of destroying himself, he called his family and said that now he could start again. The next day he restarted, not out of weakness, but out of clarity. Marcus Aurelius viewed events as remedies that life prescribes. They are not always pleasant, but often they do good. These events are not against you, they are for you, he said. Acceptance is this, to stop demanding that family, colleagues, or the world change, and to begin to be someone capable of going through everything with firmness, attention, and dignity. Imagine living like this. Less anger, less stress, less internal conflict, more focus, more strength, more peace. Acceptance doesn't weaken you, it liberates you. By letting go of resistance, you gain space to see clearly. And when you see, you begin to use your energy on what you control. Your thoughts, your choices, your reactions. You. Take a deep breath, look at what hurts and ask yourself, am I suffering because of the event itself or because of my resistance to it? The answer changes everything. Lesson 6. Learn to slow down your mind before it speeds you up. One of the greatest challenges of modern life is not the lack of time. It's the lack of space within one's own mind. We live as if our thoughts were runaway cars racing down a narrow road, all trying to pass at the same time, all demanding immediate attention. And when the mind accelerates without brakes, any detail becomes an accident. A comment becomes an offense. A delay becomes rejection. a change becomes chaos. It's not the world that's moving too fast. It's your mind that's too tired to keep up. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten. It's impossible to make good decisions in a mental field full of noise. Seneca said that a restless mind sees problems where none exist and magnifies those that are already small. This happens because when you are mentally racing, your perception loses depth. It's like observing the seabed during a storm. Everything becomes blurry, distorted, impossible to see clearly. Think about this. How many times have you reacted impulsively and minutes later thought, I didn't need to do that? How many times have you turned a passing discomfort into a huge problem simply because you didn't give your emotions time to breathe? It's in those moments that you realize you're not living. You're being pushed by thoughts, expectations, fears, memories, ghosts that aren't always yours. And every time you react unconsciously, you give a piece of your peace to things that shouldn't even touch you. Stoic practice is simple and profound. Stop before reacting. A few seconds of pause can change destinies. Pausing is not weakness, it's self-control. It's the decision not to let emotions speak for you. It's the interval in which you return to yourself, breathe, and see what is really happening, and not what your racing mind is inventing. Marcus Aurelius had a silent habit. Whenever something irritated him, he would ask himself, does this deserve my effort? And almost always the answer was no, because most of what agitates us is too small to deserve so much energy. The mind only amplifies what you feed it. When you slow down, it shrinks. Try observing your thoughts as passing clouds. Some come heavy, others clear, others dense, but none of them are you. You are the sky through which they pass, never the contents they carry. This simple reminder prevents you from becoming confused by every emotion you feel. Nothing that enters your mind should control your life. Only what you allow remains. Slowing down isn't about doing less. It's about living more authentically. It's about not chasing after every thought as if it were urgent. It's understanding that peace doesn't come when everything stops, but when you stop. Write in the comments, I slow down to live with clarity. Because only those who slow down internally can see the path clearly. Lesson 7. Protect your energy as you would protect something sacred. There is a silent force that lives within each of us, but almost no one pays attention to it. Inner energy. I'm not talking about superficial motivation, but about that deep vigor that determines how you think, react, speak, create, and face life. This energy is limited, and when you give it to the wrong places, to the wrong people, or to problems that are too small, you weaken your own capacity to exist fully. The Stoics knew this. They treated mental energy as a precious resource, something that should be used intentionally. If you waste your strength on small things, you will have none left for what really matters, said Epictetus. And that's exactly what we see happening every day. You wear yourself out with pointless arguments, with useless discussions on the internet, with opinions from people who carry no value in your life, with comparisons that only drain your courage. Think about how much energy you've already wasted trying to please someone who never noticed your effort. Think about how many hours you've spent ruminating on conversations that are already over. Think about how many days you've lost trying to change situations that were completely out of your control. Each of these things steals a little of your strength, and when you finally need it, for a project, for a dream, for a change, you have nothing left to give. Energy protection is not selfishness, it's maturity. It's about understanding that not every invitation deserves a response. Not all criticism deserves attention. Not everyone deserves unrestricted access to their inner world. Life changes when you start asking yourself, is this worth my energy? It's a simple question, but powerful enough to transform your relationships, your habits, and your inner focus. Marcus Aurelius constantly wrote about the value of integrity. If you spend your energy reacting to the world, little is left to build something within yourself. And building yourself requires strength, intention, and reserve. Therefore, protect your boundaries as if they were walls. Don't let just anyone in. Don't allow just anything to consume you. You don't need to answer everything. You don't need to explain everything. You don't need to carry everything. Being strong isn't about bearing the weight of the world. It's about choosing where your strength will be used. The energy you protect today will be the courage you possess tomorrow. The energy you waste today will be the burden you carry in the future. Ask yourself honestly, what am I still allowing to drain my strength? What can I cut out now to feel whole again? Write in the comments, I protect my energy because everything that is sacred needs to be protected, including you. Lesson 8. You can live your miracles. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for something enormous and magical to happen, as if incredible things only come to chosen people, as if joy depended on chance, a surprise from fate, or some kind of sign from heaven. But the truth, a truth that the Stoics understood 2,000 years ago, is that nothing wonderful appears to those who live far from themselves, because the extraordinary only reveals itself when you learn to see it. Epictetus said that if you want something truly good, you need to look within your own heart. And this phrase is one of the strongest warnings anyone can receive, because it shatters all excuses, cuts off all easy paths, and shows the responsibility we try to escape. You don't need luck, you need to be awake. You don't need permission, you need courage. You don't need miracles from the outside, you need to awaken the miracles that live within you. Those that appear when you accept being responsible for what you feel, what you decide, and what you build. It's curious how so many people talk about prosperity only thinking in terms of numbers, as if wealth were just money, as if contentment were always linked to things that can be bought. But if that were the case, how can we explain that so many rich people fall into deep sadness? How can we explain lives that seem perfect on the outside, but are broken on the inside? The answer is simple. Prosperity is not a bank account, it's an inner state. And a prosperous life in the Stoic view is one in which you grow as a human being, in kindness, in character, in understanding, in love, and in presence. Miracles, then, begin when you choose to grow from within. When you stop blaming the world for not giving you what you refuse to give yourself. When you leave behind the victim mentality and take on the role of author of your own story. When you stop demanding from others what you haven't yet built within your own soul. Because nothing from the outside can fill an abandoned heart. You can't blame a failing marriage if you've spent years without expressing your boundaries, your ideas, and your needs. You can't blame your career if you preferred easy comfort to the effort of growth. You can't complain about life or God for a situation you never tried to change. The Stoics had no doubt. We are responsible for our joy and also for our pain. And this responsibility, even if it seems heavy at first, is what opens the door to freedom. The miracle is not when everything around you transforms. The miracle is when you change. And when you change, the world reacts. Everything on the outside is a mirror of what happens on the inside. If you grow stronger, life brings new opportunities. If you light your own light, the paths around you also seem clearer. If you put yourself in order, the world begins to align with you. But as long as your happiness depends on a special event, you will remain stuck waiting. As long as you depend on a person, you will remain weak. As long as you depend on situations, you will remain trapped between hope and disappointment. It's like chasing the horizon. The more you try to reach it, the further it recedes. True prosperity is silent, born from within, built day after day by the habits you choose to cultivate. Every decision moves the course of your life. Every thought alters your energy. Every attitude creates a small miracle hidden along the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote one of the most direct phrases in ancient philosophy. Build your life act by act, and be content if each act fulfills its purpose. No one can do this for you, that's right. No one can live your life for you. No one can mature in your place. No one can rekindle your light if you let it go out. And the most profound miracle of all is understanding that the change you seek depends entirely on what you do now, not tomorrow, not later, now. Look inside yourself honestly and ask, what can I do today to get closer to the life I desire? This simple question has the power to change destinies because it puts you in control of the only territory that truly belongs to you, your own mind, your own actions. The miracle is not far away. The miracle is already within you, waiting for you to choose to live with mindfulness, responsibility, and purpose. And when you decide to commit to this, it won't be possible to have an ordinary life because those who awaken to their own strength live surrounded by miracles every day. Thank you for watching, and if this touched you, please like, share, and subscribe.